Hi, and welcome to Screens in Focus podcast, where we share and connect as we spotlight our favorite shows and movies. I'm Diana, and today we are talking about the 2024 Oscar nominations. Courtney is here to join me. Hi.
Hey, thanks for having me back. I'm so excited. The band's back together.
I know. I'm so excited. I've missed you so much.
Oh,
I've
I
missed
missed
our
you too.
conversations. So I'm so glad. And because you moved across the country
Across
and
the ocean.
yes. So I was just so happy for you and your new adventures in life and seeing all of that play out. But here we have the Oscars. And actually, that was our first podcast together, I think, was
Oh
the
my gosh.
Oscars last year.
It's our Screens in Focus anniversary.
I mean, wasn't it? I think it was.
Maybe.
If I
I
recall
think it
correctly.
was too. Yeah, I think that you're right. And I'll tell you, I'm grateful since I'm here in Lisbon, Portugal. Portugal is a small enough country. It's actually the size of Indiana. And so it's a small enough country that they do not dub the movies. So all the movies are still in English here with Portuguese subtitles underneath. So when we go to the cinema and see a film, which both of those two words are the same as well in Portuguese, then we get to watch in English. So we've been able to continue the tradition.
Nice. That's so nice.
Yeah.
Well, it is quite fitting because our question of the day is, what is your favorite movie of 2023 that was not nominated for an Oscar?
Oh my God, favorite movie. Okay. So because of the move, the first half of the year, H1, as they say in tech, was filled with a lot more movies than H2, the second half of the year, because of the move. So I feel like I didn't see as many movies. I tend, in the spirit of escapism, I want to say, No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence, which is, of course, for those of you who didn't see it or did see it, it's the story of, she plays a character called Maddie, and she is desperate to earn money. And so she's hired by some parents to take the virginity of their 19-year-old son before he goes away to college. And it's just hysterical. I'm like basically a 12-year-old boy inside of my brain, I guess, because I just think that kind of stuff is hysterical and awkward.
It is funny.
And
it is funny.
Jennifer Lawrence, she's no shill when it comes to comedic roles. So I did appreciate her in this role. And, I think what stands out to me more, before I move on, what was it for you?
Okay, so we covered quite a few in the first, would you call it H1?
H1. I don't know why they call it that. I don't know. Half one.
The first half,
yes.
We covered a lot of movies, a lot of great movies. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, Dial of Destiny. It's just so many. I can't even think right now all of the movies. Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, yeah.
Was John Wick? I can't even remember. That's a good one, actually.
So.
Yeah, it feels so long ago almost.
It was forever ago. 2023 lasted 4 years.
Yeah. But my mind automatically went to what I just recently watched, and a movie that I really liked a lot. And I thought it might get a nod of some sort just because I loved it. That I guess,
what do they know?
Different than it. Yeah, what do they know? But it's Iron Claw. I really liked Iron Claw.
I don't think I saw that.
Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White. It is about this 80s wrestling family. And it's about brothers. It's about the curse, how they have this curse on them. I mean, they're an actual, it's really happened where the brothers are dying one after the other. And it's just so heartbreaking to watch this story. So I just thought it was really well done. I really enjoyed it. And I would say go watch it. I have a blog post on it at Screens in Focus, so you can check it out there. But I would say, that was a movie that came to mind with that question. Okay. Were you going to say something?
I know. I was going to say I'm adding it to my list. And I think for the most part, have you seen on like TikTok or on Threads those funny videos that are coming out where people are like first day on the job at a construction site. And all they do is they sit there and they are standing and like, they'll look in one direction and then they'll play a funny clip of like someone doing something ridiculous, like flipping over, like getting covered in concrete. And then it cuts back to them and then they look the other direction and they're horrified. So that was me in 23. I think with movies, for the most part, I'm like, hi, my first day as a film critic. And I'm like looking over here and then up comes like Saltburn and then up comes Aquaman and then up comes
Oh my God.
like another movie. And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? It's like if 23 it was an emoji, it would be the straight lipped emoji for me.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
Oh gosh, Saltburn. That's another story in itself, right?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay, another conversation. All right, friends out there, we would love to know what is your favorite movie from 2023 that was not nominated. You can reach us on social media at Screens in Focus. All our social media links are at screensinfocus.com. We would love to hear from you, so please let us know your thoughts. And the website is in our show notes. All right, we're going to get to it. We are going to cover the 10 movies that were nominated. Then we'll talk a little bit about the leading actress and leading actor and maybe anything else that popped out to us in those movies. And then we'll finish up with our predictions.
Okay.
So, and I would like to say that we did get it right last year. So.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, I mean, let me just before we start, what do you think since, like, for instance, the actress from The Holdovers now has won every single award for Best Supporting Actress?
Yes.
And I feel like it's been a little more predictable this year, and especially with the Barbie snubs. You know, it's just...
We're going to get into that.
Yeah. So anyway, okay.
All right. So I have these listed in alphabetical order, so we're going to go through them. I actually didn't watch 3 of them. I think you watched a majority of them. So here we go. American Fiction. Tell me what it's about and tell me what your thoughts are, Courtney.
I think it's more about a educated Black man novelist who is horrified at the box that he is required to be placed in by white decision makers in the novel industry. First of all, like, so many of my favorite actors were in this movie, and I thought it was so clever. There's a line in there from the main character, because what ends up happening is he is the serious, like, super, like, fancy elite college educated man who has written really beautiful novel, and nobody wants it. And Issa Rae comes along, and she is also a novelist. And there's a scene where she's being interviewed on stage by this white lady. And she was talking to her about, like, you know, boy, it's so refreshing to hear a Black woman tell the story of, you know, the Black experience of what it's like to be, you know, to be Black in today's society. And of course, she's also highly educated. And she's like, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. She's like, and then the interviewer says, would you read us an excerpt? And she said, yes, I would love to. And then she opens up the book and then she's like, Ray, what you doing?
I saw that. I saw that clip.
And then like it's just like hilarious, right? Because you know that she also knows that that's not the Black experience. The Black experience. Now, I'm a white person, so forgive me if, like, I'm speaking out of turn, but, like, it's a range of experiences, just like the white experience. It's a different experience, I'm sure, but it's a range of experiences. It's not just like this one little thin slice of what this, like, white novelist approvers and editors and, you know, publishers are thinking that people are going to want to buy. So the main man character, the novelist, he is in the audience witnessing this, and he's like, oh my God. And so one night he just, like, kind of gets drunk, and out of reaction to this, like, starts writing a novel that's in that same tone about this guy who is, like, a felon, and now he's out of prison, and he ends up, like, killing his father. And none of those are spoilers, but of course, what happens? The novel gets picked up and it's under a pseudonym. And there's a great line in there from him, because eventually the book gets optioned for the movie rights. And like, no, all of like, they're just throwing money at him. And he was like talking to his own publisher and he's like, dear God, man, the stupider I become, the richer I get.
Ah.
So it's just like, it's this fantastic satire and, commentary about what it's like to be an educated Black novelist in today's society and what is expected and what is stereotyped. And it's just hilarious. It's so well done.
I want to see it so bad. I tried to watch it before we were recording this and it just wasn't possible. I mean, I could have, but I would have to spend more money than I wanted to. After I spend all this money on streaming, I didn't want to spend extra, but I'm dying to watch it. And I did watch the clips and I watched the clip that you're talking about and it made me want to watch it more. So I can see why it is nominated. I can see, I've heard other people talk about it and really like it. So I'm really excited for it. And I know it's really good. So I cannot wait to watch it.
Yeah. I hope, I don't think that has a chance of winning, but I really wish that it did. Because in my opinion, compared to all the other movies, it's funny, it's clever, it's relevant, it's smart, it's
acted.
Things.
Yeah. I love that. All right. So the next one is Anatomy of a Fall. I did watch this one. And this is about a woman who is suspected of killing her husband. And it was very unexpected to me, the story and the fact that they were in the French Alps because the courtroom scenes were so different.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciated that because it's different than it is here. And so I think that drew me in. There are a lot of revelations in this movie that are quite shocking, that you hear tapes that are presented and you're like, whoa, because you didn't expect that out of their relationship, what you learn earlier on and what you learn later. And also their son, who I don't think they really divulged, but he was in an accident or something prior, right? And then he's blind.
Yeah, he was in an accident that I think damaged both of his retinal nerves. So he was blind.
But can he still kind of see though?
I don't.
Or is he completely blind?
I think he's 100% blind.
Oh, wow. Because he's pretty good at walking around and some of the stuff he does. Now, mind you, it wasn't that it wasn't a great performance because I loved the kid. I just wasn't sure if he was 100% blind or not. But just the kids, him in this was just phenomenal. The dog, all of that. I was like, where is this movie going? I thought it was really well written. I thought it was really well acted. I was impressed with the movie.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about it going in. So what did you think about this?
Yeah,
movie?
same. I mean, I enjoyed it. The things I enjoyed about it, you touched on it. The acting of the kid that plays the blind son is one of the best performances I've ever seen by anyone, much less a 12-year-old kid or how old he actually is.
Right.
He was phenomenal. I also appreciated the cinematography of this film in that you mentioned the dog. So the dog plays sort of like he kind of plays like another character his point of view from the character, in that there's a lot of low shots from the dog's perspective that the cinematographer made sure to capture. And that, in my mind, helped to delineate the scenes of innocence versus the scenes of guilt, or presumed guilt of adulthood versus the scenes of innocence. Right.
I need to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Again, from that perspective.
And I really appreciated it from that. I did find it challenging because a lot, if not most, of the movie is in French. And so you have to follow along in subtitles unless you speak French. A lot of it is in English, but some of the really more dramatic scenes that take place in the courtroom are in French. And so you have to really pay attention. I'm one of those like more passive movie watchers where I'm like playing a game at the same time that I'm watching a movie, unless it's really, really capturing me. And you can't do that when you're watching this movie. So you really have to read if you want to follow along. So I did enjoy it. At the end, it was one of those where my husband and I looked at each other, we're like, oh, okay, so that's how they're going to end it. All right. Like which is neither here nor there. It just wasn't like, a big explosive, like Hollywood style movie. It's much more, it's a quieter movie. I think
Yes,
a little bit more.
definitely is.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. That was my initial reaction to that one too. It is a quieter movie, but I really did like it. And someone else had told me about the subtitles, how they thought, oh, it had subtitles. And I thought, okay. So I went into it thinking that it was going to be a lot of subtitles. And like you said, it was partially English and partially French, but I was okay with it. I was I don't know. I just thought it was just really well done. And enough of it was in English that I was good and I was able to read the rest. So
yeah.
It's harder for me when it's all in another language, which I will do. But like I did with All Quiet on the Western Front, had to read all the subtitles for that one for last year. But this one, there was a lot of English. So I did enjoy that one. Okay, so let's move on to Barbie. All right. I did watch this in the theaters the weekend it came out. I went with my whole family, except for my husband. So all my sons, their girlfriends went.
Did you wear
such
pink?
a good time. Yes, we did.
No.
We wore pink. We wore shirts. We were all into it. We were taking the pictures. It was really great. I absolutely loved the movie. Okay. I'd seen it the first weekend, so I didn't have everyone else's thoughts in my brain when I saw this, but I loved it. And then when it recently came out, I watched it again. So tell me what you thought about it.
Well,
and then I'll interject.
Okay. Well, before I get into that, what changed this, if anything, the second time you saw it versus the first time?
I think I looked at it visually different because I had learned a few things. Like I had learned, and this is just minor, but still, that they said when Barbie came in, because at the very beginning, when you first sit down and you're watching the movie, you're thinking, what are these Barbies just coming out of their house? Barbie coming out of her house and landing on the ground with her other friends. Why is she doing that? Well, I didn't realize it was as if someone was playing with that Barbie. That's what you would do. You would pick up your Barbie and move her to wherever you're going to place her. And I thought, wow, that's incredible that thought process went into this. So I appreciated the earlier parts of it, the part in Barbie Land more the second time around. And I just tried to pick up on other things that were happening. Initially, I thought Ryan Gosling was so hilarious. He was actually more of a draw for me initially. And I think the second time that I watched it, Margot Robbie was, I noticed her more, even though she is Barbie and she's the main, person. But I think the second time around, I was more concentrated on her and America Ferrera's role.
Yeah.
Although in the first time I watched this in the theaters without knowing anything, that speech that America Ferrera does hit me so hard. I was crying.
Same.
And at the end, I was crying too. When we all left, I was talking to one of my sons and his girlfriend about it. And I said, oh my gosh, I was so emotional on that part. And they said, oh, you were. And I think it's because I'm a mom and a woman that, both of those things are why I was feeling that. And so, and lived, so enough of my life, right? Because I'm talking to my son and his girlfriend who are younger. And so I think it just hit me so hard. And so then I text my other son because I was curious to know, because he had driven home afterwards, him and his girlfriend. So I said, what did you think of the movie? And they said, oh no, we really liked it. And I said, yeah, I got emotional in the America Ferrera part. And he said, oh, you did, Mom? So again, he's a son, so he probably views it differently. So all of my, sons and their girlfriends enjoyed it, but I think it just hit differently for me.
Yeah.
Being a woman and feeling those words and feeling seen and feeling valued. And it was just phenomenal.
Oh my gosh. Well, and I feel like maybe it is our age because of we lived pre-social media. long enough to have been experiencing some of the discrimination, the double standards, the how hard we have to work, like way harder than, perceivably men, but literally men. And then of course layer on top of that social media, and then the additional objectification and all of that stuff that comes with social media. So maybe that's why it hit extra hard for people. I don't know. I mean, I'm 54, right? So I just was like, I was openly sobbing during that scene. And I saw it with my husband because my son went with his buddies and they did the Barbenheimer double feature.
Yeah.
And so we just went to go see Barbie, and it was really unexpected. Maybe the timing of it was, but I just feel like was that'll go down in movie history.
It will.
One of the greatest monologues of all time. Like it really, really will. And even for America Ferrera, even though she was saying Greta Gerwig's words, how she delivered it was just so poignant and memorable, and it just was incredible. So, not to take anything away from her either, because it really like was a dagger through the screen that plunged right into my soul. For sure.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've only seen the movie once, and I also really enjoyed it. I thought it was really smart. I did not get that whole thing that you were saying about when that's why they floated down.
Yeah.
So now I kind of want to go back and see it again. Like there's some more layers to it, like when she was fully Barbie as opposed to when she turned into an actual human being, right? When she was walking and, she lost her high feet and got her flat feet.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that part about the floating Barbie, now I don't know if someone said that to me and that was their thought, or if that was actually written. So I can't say that 100% that I read that from an official source, but that's what somebody said to me. So I just assumed that, and it makes sense, right? Because when you're playing with a doll, you grab the doll and you just move it to wherever you're moving it to. So it's like, oh, that's why the Barbie just floated through
makes perfect sense.
Her Barbie land, right?
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate equally the actual film itself, but also the cultural phenomena that it became, and especially like woman power, girl power, coming at a time during the summer, the loss of Roe v. Wade. It all sort of came together and helped to sort of fuel the movement of girl power as well. And, hopefully we can continue that momentum now that this is an election year. But I think that it helped a lot. And I think it was also really a sign of the times. It was really well made about like, are we still here? Are we still doing this? And oh my God, why is it still like this? It's like womenhood in general take 2 steps forward and 5 steps back. And it's just maddening. It's maddening.
We could go on. We probably needed to do a Barbie episode all alone, because there's just so many things that I would want to say about this, because, there's a lot of backlash or discounting of this movie by a lot of people and directors and filmmakers. And so it's some of them are doing, backsteps on that too. But it's like, watch the movie first. One, don't just give it 15 minutes, or don't go off the trailer, or don't go off the name of what you think it is. You need to watch this movie. Yeah. And of course, not everybody's going to love it. It's not everybody's style of movie, but I absolutely loved it. It is my favorite movie of this year. It just hits on so many points. It's just so well done, so well acted, so well written, directed.
Yeah, I agree.
And the idea of it all. So
yeah, well, let's see if it wins. Oh, wait. Sorry, Greta.
Yeah. That was, to me, it was mostly Greta's snub that bothered me the most. Yes, Margot Robbie too, but there's only so many actresses that can be in there. But I just really thought that Greta should have received a director's nod. To me, that was the biggest snub.
That stung.
Very, very disappointing.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
All right. Let's move on to the Holdovers. And I just saw this. This is probably the latest one that I saw just within the week, and I really enjoyed it. So, stranded students and their teacher form unexpected bonds over Christmas break in the 1970s, discovering the true meaning of friendship and belonging. I knew kind of what to expect because I had seen the previews, but I think something that really stood out to me was the filming of this.
Yeah.
And normally it's the acting, the performances and all that, which it is. It is in this, but the fact that this is in the 70s and it feels like the 70s,
Yeah.
I was loving that.
Yeah.
It just drew me in. Of course, the performances, although there are other people in it, it's mostly three people in this. And the way they concentrate on their stories, those three specific performances are so well done. I just love the story. I just thought it was so well done. What did you
Yeah.
think of this movie?
No, I also did. I loved it a lot. And for the same reasons that you did, I appreciated the aesthetic of it. And I think it really contributed to the helping you transport yourself back in time to that time. It reminded me of, what was that movie with Robin Williams, Captain, My Captain?
Dead Poet Society?
Dead Poet Society. Thank you. It reminded me a lot of that, right? Or like Dead Poet Society meets a little Lord of the Flies without anyone eating each other. Like takes place at the school and they have to stay this like very hodgepodge group of boys. And, Paul Giamatti is always great, but I agree. I thought it was really, it was fun to watch.
I think what I really enjoyed about it was the bonding and the unlikely connections.
Yeah.
Because these three people, if they had not been thrown together by this, they would not have probably sat together outside of being thrown together in this.
Yeah.
Just like Breakfast Club or
Yeah.
anything else where you see people that are very unlikely to be together and I think what I love so much about that is it's showing you can learn so much from other people, and those people can be such valued relationships. So
Yeah.
it's very cool.
Maybe that's why it's feeling very 80s, because that was such a common theme in the 80s for movies, especially, John Hughes movies. It was always like, throw a bunch of these misfits together and shatter the stereotypes and get to the humanity part of it, which I really enjoyed. So it's worth a watch. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I thought it was really well done. Okay. So the next movie is Killers of the Flower Moon. So, of course, this is Martin Scorsese's epic movie about the dark history of the Osage murders in 1920s America. I was unaware of this going into it, but I think for me, it was the most anticipated movie that I wanted to see in 2023. So I made sure that we went to go see it, and I knew it was going to be long. I'm okay with long movies, and I was okay with the length of this movie. I thought it was beautifully made. Martin Scorsese has been making movies for decades and decades. He's so good at it. He was so good at weaving everything together, the look of it, and just being so authentic to the Osage people. And the performances were just amazing. I'm surprised Leonardo DiCaprio wasn't in the mix there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What do you think of this movie?
I mean, could it not have been a miniseries?
Yeah.
It was about an hour too long for me. I feel like that they could have easily edited out and not jeopardized any of the story. And maybe that was on purpose so that we were feeling alongside that comfortable angst. To me, this is a movie about greed and oppression, and kind of made me really angry all over again when we continue to hear these. Like, it's one of those where I'm just like, I fucking hate humans, but I love humanity, right? Like, I hate the fact that these greedy white ass men knew that they could take advantage of these Indians, stole their land, stole their rights, stole their oil, killed them, and discarded them like nothing.
Yeah.
It really just fired up the anger within me whenever I hear the same story again about the American Indians and how the white men oppressed them and killed them and took advantage of them and stole their money and stole their land. Insert any other person of color or minority group in there.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes me pissed off.
Yeah. And that's why I'm so glad it was made. I'm so glad that Martin Scorsese made it. And also because I have read that the book is different. It concentrates on the FBI guy in this who was played by Jesse Plemons, but he wanted to, he wanted to be faithful to the actual historical events. So they wrote it that way.
Yeah.
And a lot of, he looked to the people and asked for their help in getting the story right. And so I really appreciated that. And I'm so glad he brought it to light so that we can see it. It was really well done.
No one's going to say no to Martin Scorsese when he says, I don't want to edit it. Can you take it an hour? No. Okay. Let's release it as is.
And if someone hasn't seen this, just Robert De Niro plays William Hale, and he enlists his nephew, who is Ernest Burkhart, who is played by Leonardo DiCaprio, to marry Molly Burkhart, who is played by Lily Gladstone. I don't know how much I want to say, but because it gives it away, but then also it's out there. It's history.
I already said it.
Yeah.
They can.
That he, slowly begins to poison her throughout this, to kill her to get her money. But the thing is that he's in love with her, in a way, to a certain extent. He loves her. I shouldn't say in love with her. He loves her, but he's still going to do what his uncle wants.
Well, do you think he knew, but he didn't know? He was just, because it was his uncle and the doctors who were in cahoots, right? Who were giving him.
I think he knew.
I think he knew, but yet he wanted to pretend like he didn't know. And mentally trying to justify in his own mind that he was doing the right thing because she was probably in pain and he was really helping her, but he was just doing what he was told, but he was completely complicit in all of it. Right. So it was
it's like he's kind of dumb.
Was he just stupid? And he was fun. I don't know.
Yes. Because Robert De Niro, man, I thought he was extraordinary in this. He felt like a mob boss in this. I felt that. I'm like, holy crap, Robert De Niro's on the set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and he's, even though he's all chummy and, with them and taking pictures and pretending like he's giving them loans, or I don't know what it was in the beginning, but he's their buddy. But in the back, he's all making sure everybody's marrying the women and killing them off. And I do want to say near the beginning, when they're first starting to tell the story and that gunfire happens where they shoot them, I was like, oh, it was so jarring with them shooting them. I was like, holy crap, am I in a Godfather movie or something? I don't know. It was just so jarring. That part was so jarring. So
just another tale of genocide.
Yeah. So, okay. So that is Killers of the Flower Moon. All right. Let's get to the next movie, which is Maestro. So this is the story of Leonard Bernstein amidst his artistic brilliance and personal struggles. I did watch this. I thought it was well made. I thought the acting was really good, but I was a little bit, even though I know it was beautiful. Yeah, I was a little bit bored.
Yeah. We turned it off. We watched the first 30 minutes and I looked over at my husband and I was like, are you into this? He's like, I don't even know what's happening. This is so dumb. I'm like, this is the dumbest. I can't right now. Is this one of those where I know Bradley Cooper wrote it and I know Bradley Cooper wanted to star in it? Is this one of those examples of someone who just becomes a star and then thinks that this is cinematique? This is the cinema and I'm going to make a film that's made like the old cinema. And it's just like, then he has enough people around him who are telling him, oh yeah, this is really good. Yeah, this is great. And then like it gets made and he's like, oh my God, I'm so brilliant. I'm going to get nominated. And I can't believe this got nominated for Best Picture. Who did he blow? I'm sorry. Like, no way was this a Best Picture. Sorry, Bradley Cooper, if I ever meet you, but no.
Yeah, so I was a little bit bored. It was just, I don't know. It was not my cup of tea, unfortunately. I did think that they felt transformed his character, and I know that he loved his wife even though he led a double life. He did love her, and it was concentrated on their relationship and how she knew that he was with other men and how they did break up, but then she ends up getting sick and he ends up going back to her to take care of her. And it showed a great love in that, because he could have just said, okay, I'm not married to you. Goodbye. But no, he went back and was with her. So maybe you didn't get to that part. So maybe that part would
have happened after the 30-minute mark. No, I did not.
Yes, it did. It did. It's later on. All right. We're going to go to the next one, which is Oppenheimer. All right. So Christopher Nolan delves into the moral dilemmas of J. Robert Oppenheimer, the atomic bomb creator. Cinematography was amazing. I thought the performances were amazing. I thought the direction was really well done. And what I mean by that, of course, I went to the theaters to see this. I haven't seen it again. I almost wish I could have seen it again so that I could pick it apart a little bit more to say how, what the parts that I loved about it. But I just think that there were so many moments in this that were so good. There was the post-bombing speech that was very chilling. There were the hearings that I didn't even realize. I felt like the hearings were huge about communism. I had no idea that's where they were going. I thought they were going to show us about the bomb itself being built and all of that, which they do talk about that, but it was really a lot about these hearings. And also I like that it sort of moved around. It wasn't as linear, if I recall correctly, the story. And just the meeting with Einstein, it's like what was said, and Louis Strauss, who was played by Robert Downey Jr. in this extraordinary role for him, how he kept thinking and was so paranoid that Einstein and Oppenheimer were talking about him.
Yeah.
And I love at the end, we find out what is said. That was just really well done. So I just thought it was a really, really well done movie.
Yeah.
What did you think of Oppenheimer?
I'm with you. I saw it in the theater. So this would have been last July. And so I too cannot pick it apart, but I can tell you the impact and impression that it had on me, which was, I remember thinking, is history repeating itself with AI? It's like, because of the core topics that they're talking about, the paranoia, the big innovation, the big discovery, the lack of understanding and awareness around this massive life-changing, life-diminishing technology, the governmental interest in debating it, who's the real enemy here. And so that to me just like summed it up. I was like, wow, this is really also an important movie to be made right now, because I feel like we're living through it again and we don't see it.
Yeah. Sorry, I have a side note, because when you were talking about that, it reminded me of a movie that I really liked. Not everybody loved this movie, but I really liked it. And it was the one with Julia Roberts.
Oh, I hated that one. You liked it?
I liked that one a lot. And it reminds me of this because of not facing what is happening.
But you don't even know what's happening. That's why I was like, wait, what? They're not even going to tell us what this was? Is it the government? Is it aliens? Like, what is it?
Well, I love that. And I also love the whole Friends thing. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so cool. And I love the end, how, the little girl gets the satisfaction that she's been wanting so bad. So to me, that tied it up. So I know a lot of people were like, what the heck happened here? There was and to me, it was like, that is cool. They're going to live in that place. That's their shelter. That's where they're going to have to start again. An apocalypse is coming. The world is ending as we know it. And this is where they are starting off. It's totally stacked with stuff. And I'm sorry, I'm on another movie. But I just want to say, what is the name of that Julia Roberts movie? But that should have been one of the movies that I really loved. But no, Iron Claw. Watch Iron Claw. Julie Roberts, but because you said AI taking over, that's why it sparked that conversation. So anyway, back to this movie, Oppenheimer. Leave the World Behind. Yes, right. With Julie Roberts. Okay, but Oppenheimer, yeah. And that's what happens with us, right? History repeats itself and we don't learn from the past.
Yeah, well, that's why the timing of that was kind of brilliant, given that, AI and like AI has been around for a while, but it hasn't been ubiquitous until probably November of last year. So that was actually before its time, because this movie came out before. No, sorry, it had just come out. So we were only 8 or 9 months into the Chat GPT, and how much it's accelerated now and even changed our society and changed even
right.
It's changed everything already. Yeah. Scary.
I know. Take note of these movies. All right. So the next movie is Past Lives. So childhood friends reunite, confronting their past choices in a poignant exploration of love and time. I recently watched this a couple of weeks ago. I liked it. I thought it was another quiet film.
Yeah.
I was surprised in a good way of Greta, that's the actress's name. What are their names? Nora and Haesung. So if anybody hasn't seen this, they are childhood friends. And then they skip to about college time, I believe.
Yeah.
And
college, post-college.
Yeah. And so Haesung reaches out to Nora, but he's
in Korea, South Korea.
But he reaches out to her and she's in the States, correct?
Yeah, New York.
If I remember correctly, New York. And they start up a conversation again through Zoom or whatever it is, but then they go their separate ways again. And it's not until later on she is married now. But I was surprised that the husband, his approach to it all, which I think was his saving grace, how he allowed her to explore this relationship, because Haesung finally does come to New York and meets her in person, mm-hmm. and is there for a few days or a week or whatever it is. And they sort of, talk. And I feel like it's a movie about what ifs. What if you had made a different choice? Where would you, what would happen? And they get to explore that a little bit in front of the husband, which is like crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think because, okay, so I also saw this 2 nights ago. I actually liked it more than I thought I was going to like it, because what's coming up for me is, what do you do with a love like that? Like childhood friends rekindled 20 years later, where your memories of them are when you are, 8.
Right.
8. And then getting to know each other a little bit and then dropping off again and then rekindling again, maybe 10 years later or something. So you're dipping into each other's lives and that you love this person, but what does that mean? Right. And I do love that it's called Past Lives for a reason, because they talk about this word in Korean that means someone that you've spent 8,000 past lives with. And then that's how you end up together in this lifetime, as like you're coupled together or married or whatever. It's because you spent 8,000 past lives together. And it's when you see each other and there's a familiarity there so much that transcends any of the past lives amnesia. Right. So, but the tension of it was not sexual tension to me. it felt deeply moving in a way of Nora knowing that knowing her belief of having like this 8,000 past lives sense, and she was married to her current husband. And so as they were having a conversation, he said, well, doesn't this mean that we've also spent 8,000 past lives together too? I think that kind of made her think a little bit about, yeah, it was a little bit of a sliding doors moment, but I almost feel like it was if you've ever had a person in your life that was a deeply dear childhood friend, and then you see them again, and you're in your current space, and you're married or not, or you're, in a relationship or something, it is a strange love that does not have a name. It doesn't have a name. And so I kind of I liked the fact that they brought up that was the only word that they could think of that described their connection over time and space and distance. And maybe there should be a name for it, because I'm sure all of us have an experience like with someone in our past who, it's not like we wish that we were married to them now, because our lives would be totally different. However, they reserve a special place in your heart that never ever goes away. So they're important too. And then what do you do with a love like that? Where do you put it? There's no category.
Well, and that's what this movie is for, right? To go through that, to experience that, and to hold on, I guess, to that memory of that. I don't know. It was a beautiful film. It actually was. And actually hearing you talk about it, I loved it even more again. I'm like, oh yeah, that's so true. Again, I was impressed with the husband. Instead of just getting like upset or jealous, I just loved his approach to allowing her. Of course he should, right? That's how he acted, was how anybody should act, right? But that's surprising because not everybody is like that, right? Because everybody's like, oh, self-preservation. You're not going, don't you leave me. And he's threatening, our relationship, but he didn't approach it like that. He's like, I'm going to let you figure that out.
Well, yeah. I mean, how else would you act? You know what I mean? It's like you're playing out all the scenarios in your head, and you have to give it the space. It was a movie that was about it was about spaciousness and space.
Also, really, even though they have this bond, this love, this thing, that doesn't mean that they're right for each other right now, because he grew up where he grew up and she's grown up here. So really, let's just say they decided to be together. How would that work? It may not work because you're a different person now.
Yeah.
Just because you have this connection doesn't mean that that's what you should move forward with.
Right. Well, that's what I mean, right? Like, what do you do with a love like that when you are hooking into something that happened when you were children, and it's so dear to you, yet you have hooked into them also moving forward, fast forward 15 years, fast forward another 10. So it's not like they're a stranger. And then when you see them, I did not feel any sexual tension between the two of them.
No.
At all. It was not a sexual thing. It was a deep,
love.
It was a heart soul connection that they had. It had gravity to it, and it was very dense. It was beautiful. Yeah. But different than between her and her husband.
Yeah. I do see, these other things keep popping up as we talk. I just want to mention, I watched One Day on Netflix. It is a love story about, have you seen this?
No, not yet.
Okay. I think you would enjoy it. It's a limited series. It's based on a movie with Anne Hathaway and a book. And it's about college. I believe they're college. They get together one night. They're about to sleep together. They don't. And they revisit. It's like every year you see where they're at in their journey, and they are usually in each other's lives, but it's almost like, what if we got together? And they keep exploring every time that next year together, but you see their lives through the years. You should watch it. It's a good series. Anyway, let's move on. I'm so influenced by so many TVs and movies. Let's go to the last two I have not seen. So, and I really want to watch Poor Things. I tried so hard to watch it last night and I could not get to it for free. And so this is, a darkly comedic tale follows a young woman through a surreal world of twisted secrets. If that's correct, I don't know. But so many people are in it. But
Yeah.
what did you think? Just tell me what you thought.
I just saw it on Monday. So it's fresh. It is a macabre, Willy Wonka-esque meets Frankenstein movie. Because essentially, this is not a spoiler, but essentially, Emma Stone plays a character who is you don't quite know what's wrong with her when you see her in the beginning, which kind of starts out as black and white. But her father, who she calls God, we don't know this, I guess, until later, but it's not a spoiler in that he's sort of a mad scientist because he is he's a teacher, a medical teacher, and he is like shown, carving up cadavers and stuff in like a big medical theater. And so that he knows how to do this. And then we learn that Emma Stone's character basically has been Frankensteined together, but her brain was replaced. I'll just leave it like that, right? So her brain was replaced, and that explains how she's being monitored for the progression of her motor skills and her ability to learn things, because basically she has like a baby brain in this young woman's body. And so it's just a story about her learning her cognitive development in a very surreal world that takes place in non-identifiable, nondescript time, probably early 1900s ish, in the Willy Wonka world, 1800s.
Yeah. Oh my God, we didn't talk about Willy Wonka. Yes.
I know.
I love that movie. Can I go back? All right. Sorry.
But it is a comedy in that, like, as she does progress and she lacks her filter, she's very funny. There's a ton of sex in this movie with her discovering it. She calls it, what does she call it? Rapid jumping.
Wow.
Rapid jumping. I would like you to rapid jumping me now. There's a lot of yeah.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea.
It is
okay. So
strange.
What did you think though? Like, did you like it? What would you recommend it? What?
I mean, yes, I can see why now when you see interviews with Emma Stone where she talks about like, this was my dream role. I read the script and I knew I wanted to play this, because it's like an actor's dream, right? You get to play all the way from like a young child who's just developing, and all of like the herky jerky, even in like your motor, like how you're walking, your motor skills, all the way up into like when you are able to fully process and become like a well self-educated young woman, and everything in between of self-discovery, which is a large part of that is your sexuality, right? Which is why it plays such a large part. It's almost like its own character. Sexuality is in the movie. And there's like there's funny parts in there. And Mark Ruffalo plays this hysterical character who's like an over-the-top narcissist who whisks her away from London to Lisbon, actually, which is kind of fun since I live in Lisbon.
Yeah.
And so when we were in the movie theater watching it in Lisbon, when they were talking about Lisbon, nothing really looked the same, obviously, because this took place, early 1900s. But it was the author's imagination of what Lisbon must have looked like in the early 1900s with, it's very steampunky. So anyway, it was entertaining. I think it's worth watching. It is weird and strange and demented and funny, and just it's a fever dream.
I believe it'll be on Hulu on March 7th. So for anyone who wants to watch it before the Oscars, which I will be watching. So let's hope that really is true. I read that somewhere because like I said, I was scouring the internet to find out how I could watch it.
Yeah. You check back in after you've watched it, because I want to hear what you thought of it.
Okay. All right. I will. Okay. So the last movie, neither one of us has watched, but I just do want to mention it, is called The Zone of Interest. It's a thought-provoking drama, challenges viewers to confront human nature in a Nazi concentration camp. That's what I got off the internet because I don't really know what it's about.
Yeah, I didn't see it out of solidarity to my Jewish husband. I just don't want to see any more of those things. And I think worth mentioning that the woman, what it's actually about is the life and the slice of life in one of the Nazi officers for Auschwitz. And he lives like in this huge freaking residence because he's one of the, top ranking Nazi officers that's right next to the concentration camp. And so they are, living their best bougie life amidst all of this genocide that's happening. And the woman that plays his wife is the same woman who plays the lead actress in Anatomy of a Fall. So she, so she's in 2 nominated movies.
Yeah.
I think she's a German actress, I think, or is she?
Is she?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Well, those are the top 10 movies, and we're going to give our predictions shortly, but I do want to run through quickly the nominees for actor in a leading role. So Bradley Cooper in Maestro, Coleman Domingo in Rustin, Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction. Do you want to say anything about their performances at this point?
I didn't see Rustin. I don't even know what that is. I mean, I think
it's good, actually. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah. Coleman Domingo. The reason I know Coleman Domingo is because he is in Fear the Walking Dead, but he is in, he's in so many things. He's in The Color Purple. He's in so many things. Like, he's just popping up all over the place. Rustin, and unfortunately, I can't remember the film too well, but it has to do with Martin Luther King. He plays an important role in his speech and in getting his famous speech done. So, and he plays Rustin, who is that character, and he's a gay man. So, and this is back in time. His performance was well done. And Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers,
I mean,
he's really good. He's been really good. Now, I have to say, I don't always gravitate to watch him, even though he's a really good actor and his roles are so good. But I just thought he was really good. And you've already talked about loving American Fiction, so I'm sure Jeffrey Wright is amazing in that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's just move on to the nominees for Best Lead Actress. So Annette Bening in Naiad, Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller, if I'm saying her name correctly, Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan in Maestro, and Emma Stone in Poor Things. Is there anything you want to say about any of their performances?
I did enjoy Naiad. Actually, I really like Annette Bening. I thought that was a really cool story that was unexpected. I don't know. I'll save all of this until we get to our.
Okay. All right. Is there any other nominations that you wanted to bring up or bring to light? There's supporting actress, supporting actor. There's a lot of great performances, and we talked about America Ferrera in her supporting role. You had mentioned Divine Joy Randolph has been sweeping the wins of all the previous award shows.
Yeah, I would say, after when we get to the actor and supporting role, I would say I have one for that. But all the other ones is like, nothing is really standing out for me about like, oh, wow, yeah, they should have really been nominated. Other than, Margot Robbie, who was snubbed, as we already talked about.
Yeah. I love that Ryan Gosling is nominated here. I really do. I love that. I'm like, cool. And I do want to say about that. I didn't like that the internet was saying, oh, he got nominated and he's a man and they didn't get nominated because they're women. I'm thinking, okay, these are all separate. And let's at least be happy that Ryan Gosling brought some more attention to Barbie because he was nominated didn't take away a spot from Greta or Margot. So I'm not sure why people were up in arms. I'm thinking, no, we want this because we want people to say, oh, he had an Oscar worthy performance. Let me check this out. So
Yeah, I don't know. I can see both sides. I'm a little on the fence about that opinion, just because it's like, uh, aren't we gonna? Isn't this about what the movie is about? That women have to try so much harder, and the fact
Yes.
that he got nominated, and the women who played such an amazing role. I mean, America Ferrera is in that list, thank God, and she did deserve it. But
Yeah.
I guess it's not an all for one for all kind of a thing, but it did feel a little
I
misogynistic.
yeah.
Felt icky.
Yeah.
Just felt icky.
Well, it did, because they were snubbed and we wanted them to be, recognized for their work.
Yeah.
I do want to bring up the songs, because I love it, love it, love it. What Was I Made For, from Barbie,
Yeah.
music and lyrics by Billie Eilish and Finneas O'Connell. Every time it's on, it moves me. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
so beautiful. I know it's going to win. That's my prediction. It
Yeah.
better win.
Well, I mean,
And it's
that's
been
another example. Like in any of all the other award shows where the music is a category, it has won.
yeah.
It's a clean sweep of all
Yeah.
of them. So
That's what I
yeah, I don't know how it could not win. Could not win.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We are at our picks.
Okay.
All right. For lead actress. You mentioned you wanted to mention something about supporting actress. Did you
Supporting
want to?
actor. Oh, well, I thought that the kid in Anatomy of a Fall should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, you're right. I agree.
I mean, although he's just a kid, but wow, that was so memorable for me. It is not easy
It was.
to do what
It
he did.
is.
Yeah.
No, it was good. Yeah, that was a great part. And that scene with the dog, it just,
I mean, the whole
that was,
thing of it. I was like, is he really blind? I don't think so.
I know.
Is
I
he?
kept
I don't
saying,
know.
yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so either.
The
So
the kid's
but
going
who knows?
places,
Maybe
I'll
he
tell you.
is. Maybe he is, actually. I don't know.
I don't
We'd have
know.
to look that up. Okay. So our picks for lead actress: who should win and who will win for
So I
best lead
think who
actress?
should win is Emma Stone for Poor Things. I think who will win is Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon.
I have not seen Poor Things, but I know it's between those two. So I would say who should win. So I'm going to defer to you with that and say Emma Stone too. But I think who will win is Lily Gladstone.
Yeah,
I
me
really
too.
think that she is going to win.
Yeah.
Okay. Best lead actor. Who should win? Who will win?
Who should win? Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. Who will win is Cillian Murphy from Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Again, I did not see that performance. So I'm going to say who should win is Paul Giamatti. And I'm going to say who will win is Cillian Murphy.
Yeah. I think that those are in the bag.
And yeah. And then best picture.
Best Picture. Oh, now see, the one that I want to win is
Say
American
it should.
Fiction. I want
You think
American
so?
Fiction to win. Never. That's like long shot. Should win is American Fiction. What will win is probably Oppenheimer.
To me, who should win is Barbie, my favorite movie. And who will win is Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Do you have any other nominations that you want to?
Let's do supporting.
Okay, supporting Emily Blunt Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks The Color Purple, America Ferrera Barbie, Jodie Foster Naiad, and Divine Joy Randolph The Holdovers.
Yeah. Okay. Should win America Ferrera for Barbie. It was just a culturally significant role for her that will be forevermore. Who will win is Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdover.
Yep. Oh, I got chills. They're multiplying.
Do you think that she will wear another strapless dress where it looks like she's about to pop out at any moment?
Possibly. I don't know. Probably.
Every award show, I'm like, you know how some people walk behind the ladies and hold the train? I'm like, I feel like she needs someone in front of her holding up the front of her dress. I'm like, dude, the girls are about to make an appearance on live television.
But yeah, I'm there with you. I am so there. America Ferrera. And you're right. This is going to go down. Like this is amazing that she has this, right? Because if nothing else, you have this. Someone said, it was Helen Mirren. Someone said, do you think that Barbie was snubbed for these awards? And Helen Mirren said, Barbie is going down in history.
Yeah.
It has accomplished so much. And she's all, do you remember who won the awards 2 years ago? So it's like, does it matter? Because Barbie has surpassed what it needed to. It will always be recognized. So I thought, wow, that is amazing, Helen Mirren, for saying that. So I love that. And that's the same thing for America Ferrera. She probably won't win because it probably will go to Divine Joy Randolph, but man, she's cemented in there. America Ferrera is. Yeah, so that's pretty exciting.
I would agree.
Okay. Actor in supporting role, Sterling K. Brown. In American Fiction, Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling in Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things.
This is a closer category to me.
Yeah, it is. I think so too, because I think all of them are so good.
I mean, Mark Ruffalo is so good in Poor Things. When you see it, you're just going to be like, oh my God, his character is so over the top. It's so funny. He just does such a good job. Like,
I think every single one of these guys, if any of them won, I don't care which one. I love them all. Like, I think all deserve it. So I can't even do a should.
No, me neither. I think Robert Downey Jr. will win. Yeah. But I think it's a toss up.
Yeah.
5-sided coin flip for me.
Yeah, I agree. I love every single one of these actors and all their performances. And even the ones I didn't see, I know that they're good because I've seen them in other things. So, and yes, I believe that Robert Downey Jr. will get it for Oppenheimer. And he was good. So. All right. Oh my gosh. Those are our predictions. Those are our thoughts. I'm so excited. The Oscars will be live on Sunday, March 10th. I was going to say, is Courtney going to be staying up late or?
Of course. Well, because they start at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and now my new time zone, midnight GMT.
Oh my gosh, midnight. Well, that's good for you though, right?
Because I know. Because I stayed up to watch the Golden Globes and it didn't start till 1 a.m. and I was up until 4:30 and I turned it off and I'm like, why couldn't I have just taped this and watch it in the morning when everyone else is sleeping?
Yes. Yes, Courtney. Well, Courtney, thank you so much for joining me today. I just love talking with you. I love your perspective and your insights so much. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Diana. Let's do this again before the Oscars next year.
Yes. Hey, I'm here. So just tell me. You're pretty good about like, oh, I want to do this movie. This is good. So.
All right. We'll see you again.
Remember that. All right. That's our show. Thanks for tuning in. We are grateful you tuned in and we hope something that we said today resonated with you, gave you a chuckle, some happiness, some positivity or inspiration. Please subscribe to our website at screensinfocus.com and tell a friend because we would love more members of our TV club. All right. Remember that all our links are at screensinfocus.com. And just happy TV time, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.